The airport was quiet for a Tuesday afternoon. Sarah Mitchell stood by the baggage carousel, watching suitcases tumble down the metal slide. She had just landed in Seattle after visiting her sister in Boston. The trip had been nice, but she was ready to be home. Sarah was tired. The kind of tired that settles into your bones after 3 days of wedding planning and family dinners. Her sister's wedding was in 2 months, and Sarah had promised to help with everything. Now all she wanted was her own bed and a cup of tea. She spotted a black suitcase rolling toward her. It looked exactly like hers. Same size, same silver buckles, same worn corner where she had bumped it against a doorframe last year. Sarah reached out and grabbed the handle, pulling it off the carousel with relief. Finally, she could go home now. Sarah wheeled the suitcase, through the sliding glass doors and out, into the cool Seattle air. The sky was gray, as it often was in November. She took a deep breath, enjoying the familiar smell of rain and coffee that seemed to define her city. Her apartment was only 20 minutes away. The taxi ride was uneventful. The driver was quiet, which Sarah appreciated. She watched the buildings pass by through the rain-spotted window, thinking about nothing in particular. Sometimes it felt good to just exist without having to talk or smile or be anything for anyone. When she arrived home, Sarah carried her suitcase up the 3 flights of stairs to her apartment. The building was old, with creaky floors and temperamental heating, but it was hers. She unlocked the door and stepped inside, immediately feeling the tension leave her shoulders. Home, safe, quiet. Sarah left the suitcase by the door and made herself that cup of tea she had been dreaming about. She changed into comfortable clothes and settled onto her couch with a blanket. Outside, the rain began to fall harder, tapping against the windows like patient fingers. It was only when she went to unpack that she realized something was wrong. Sarah unzipped the suitcase and stared at the contents. These were not her clothes. Instead of her comfortable sweaters and well-worn jeans, she found expensive-looking suits, crisp white shirts, silk ties in shades of navy and burgundy. Everything was neatly folded and organized with a precision Sarah had never managed in her own life. Her heart sank. She had taken the wrong suitcase. Sarah sat back on her heels, processing this information. Somewhere in Seattle, someone else had her suitcase full of old sweaters and paperback books, and she had theirs. She felt a wave of embarrassment wash over her. How had she not noticed? How had she been so careless? She began searching through the suitcase for some kind of identification. There had to be a name tag or a business card or something. Her hands moved through the clothes carefully, respectfully. These items clearly belonged to someone who took care of their things. At the bottom of the suitcase, tucked into a side pocket, she found a leather portfolio. Inside was a collection of business cards held together with a rubber band. Sarah pulled one out and read the name printed in elegant silver lettering. James Chen, Chief Executive Officer, Cascade Industries. Sarah's eyes widened. She had accidentally taken a CEO's luggage. Of course she had. This was exactly the kind of thing that would happen to her. She couldn't just take the wrong suitcase from a teacher or an accountant. No, she had to take it from someone important. She pulled out her phone and searched for Cascade Industries. It was a major tech company in Seattle, specializing in sustainable energy solutions. James Chen's photo appeared in the search results. He was younger than she expected, maybe in his mid-30s, with kind eyes and a professional but not unkind expression. Sarah noticed there was a phone number on the business card. She stared at it for a long moment, gathering her courage. She hated making phone calls, especially to strangers, especially to important strangers, who probably had assistants and busy schedules and better things to do than deal with someone who had accidentally stolen their luggage. But there was no other choice. She dialed the number with trembling fingers. It rang 3 times before someone answered. "Hello?" The voice was male, polite, and sounded tired. "Hi," Sarah said, her voice coming out smaller than she intended. "Is this James Chen?" "Yes, this is James. Who's calling?" "My name is Sarah Mitchell. I think I accidentally took your suitcase at the airport today. I have your luggage, and I assume you have mine." There was a pause. Then, to her surprise, he laughed. It was a warm sound, genuine and relieved. "Oh, thank goodness," he said. "I've been trying to figure out what to do." "Yes, I have a suitcase here that definitely doesn't belong to me. Are you the one who likes mystery novels and owns 7 different gray sweaters?" Despite her nervousness, Sarah smiled. That would be me? I have to admit, James said, and she could hear the smile in his voice. Your taste in books is excellent. I've been resisting the urge to start reading one while I waited to find you. They arranged to meet the next morning at a coffee shop halfway. Between their locations, James was understanding and kind about the whole situation, which made Sarah feel a little less mortified. When she hung up, she found herself less anxious than she had been. The next morning, Sarah arrived at the coffee shop 10 minutes early, wheeling James's suitcase beside her. The shop was cozy, with warm lighting and the rich smell of fresh coffee. She ordered a latte and chose a table near the window. James arrived exactly on time. He was taller than she expected, dressed casually in jeans and a sweater, pulling her suitcase behind him. When he saw her, he smiled and walked over. "Sarah?" he asked. "That's me," she said, standing up. "I'm so sorry about all this." "Please don't apologize," James said, sitting down across from her. "Honestly, it's been the most interesting thing that's happened to me in months. Do you know how rare it is to accidentally glimpse someone's real life like this? Your suitcase was like reading a story." They talked while they exchanged luggage. James told her he had been returning from a business trip that had been exhausting and lonely. Sarah told him about her sister's wedding and the overwhelming nature of family gatherings. They discovered they both loved the same mystery, author, and hated talking on the phone. An hour passed, then another. The coffee shop filled with other customers, but Sarah barely noticed. She was surprised by how easy it was to talk to James, how the conversation flowed naturally from one topic to another. When they finally stood to leave, James hesitated. "Would you maybe want to have dinner sometime?" he asked. "I promise I'll be more careful with my luggage in the future." Sarah smiled, feeling something warm bloom in her chest. "I'd like that," she said. Sometimes, she thought as she walked home through the gray Seattle morning, the best things in life come from the smallest mistakes. She had taken the wrong suitcase and found something unexpected. Not a CEO, not someone important and distant. Just James. Just a person who, like her, was trying to find connection in a busy, complicated world.